Welcome in to the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. I'm Tim Dennis. Folks, there have been some changes you might have noticed, especially if you're a Stitcher listener. You might have gone to your Stitcher app today to listen to True Crime Tuesday and discovered that you couldn't listen through the Stitcher app. You also might have gone to listen to the ad-free version of True Crime Tuesday and discovered that all of a sudden you were unable to get the show. And you had to find another way to listen. Let's clear up some things real quick. Let's bring in our co-host today, that big cuddly bear, Beer City Bruiser. Hi, Bruiser.
Hello, Tim. How are you?
Doing well, my friend. Doing well. We want to explain...
Lots of changes, I hear. Lots of changes.
Yes. Lots of changes, my friend. We want to walk our audience through what exactly is going on. We told you and we kind of hinted to you over the last couple of weeks that there are going to be some changes with Darkness Radio and with True Crime Tuesday. And we've changed. We've, like a butterfly emerging from its cocoon, we've gone through those changes already. And we didn't mean to be so vague, but the fact of the matter is when things are going on, you can't exactly disclose what it is that's going on. But we can now that we've got everything up and going, and sometimes business negotiations are slow and sometimes they happen very rapidly. Mm-hmm. So here's the situation. We're no longer with Stitcher, but we are with Audioboom.
All right.
Yeah. And it was a very nice, very mutual parting of the ways with Stitcher. Stitcher is a great company. I still suggest if you're a podcaster and interested in going with Stitcher that you do so. They're a good company. It just was not fitting with us at this particular time and something where we felt we needed to go a different direction. So we did.
It was time to move on.
That's right. Time to move on. And as every businessman knows, sometimes you need to shift gears and try something new and different. The other thing is, too, that I wanted to do something different for our audience. Let's face it. Over the last 5 years since we left iHeartRadio, we've been asking you to put your hand out and to keep paying us. And the pay model is popular right now. It's $5 here, $5 there. You want to pay for programming. If you want to get this content, this extra content, pay. And let's face it, folks, inflation is killing us all.
Oh, it's terrible out there right now. Everything's so expensive.
Gas prices are breaking our backs. Yeah. And on top of that, gas prices are affecting everything else. Food prices are out of control. Meat prices are out of control.
Air travel's out of control. Traveling by train, by bus, all of it. It's out of control.
It's all out of control. And it's about time somebody stand up and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to give you something for free.
What? We should do that. We should.
That's what we're going to do, Bruiser.
We are.
This is an inflation buster.
Ooh, I like that name. That's a great title.
It's an inflation buster. All we're going to ask you to do, and I don't want to hear the phrase, Tim, I don't want to listen to ads.
Yep.
Okay? Because that's what we're going to trade in exchange for you to not have to pay a dime for this show. That's it. That's
all you gotta do. Listen to an ad.
You're going to get plenty of content. You just have to listen to ads. And it's free. It's free.
You can't beat free.
You can't. you just can't. Especially in this day and age when gas is going up and up and up. We're talking about $6 gas by the end of the summer.
Oh,
and this
painful.
Folks, this is worldwide. This isn't just America. Worldwide, our friends in Canada who listen are getting hit with huge gas prices. Our friends overseas are getting hit with huge gas prices. I think our friends in Canada are now paying something like close to $8 a gallon if you do the conversion rate.
I know in the United Kingdom we're playing $7.75 after the conversion. Yeah. So it's all over. It is. Everything that's happening in the world is being affected. So
our world is getting hit with excruciating price gouging right now. Yeah. So Bruiser and I were sitting down, we were thinking about it, and we thought, you know what? It's time to roll the clock back. Somebody's got to be the example.
Yeah.
Somebody's,
why not us? Why not us?
Exactly, Bruiser. Why not us? So we're going to be the example. We're going to put our foot forward and give you this show for free.
I love it. I love it. That means we get out to the fans and they can hear us and tell their friends. And if their friends, I don't want to pay for a podcast. Well, guess what? You don't have to. It's free.
And you're still getting this podcast on the Darkness Radio feed, which is what's great. So True Crime Tuesday is going to be available every Tuesday on the Darkness Radio feed. We are working something out with Audioboom where the old True Crime Tuesdays will live as True Crime Tuesday and will be available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and so forth under its own category, under its old name. So you'll be able to access the archive.
Okay.
Because that's important. We want you to be able to access the old archive of True Crime Tuesday. But from here going forward, you'll be able to get new episodes of True Crime Tuesday right here on Tuesday on the Darkness Radio feed. It's real simple. We're just rolling it into Darkness Radio, just like the old days. So on Tuesday, here it is. It's on Darkness Radio, True Crime Tuesday. It's just another episode of Darkness Radio. And here's the kicker, folks. You get Dumb Crimes, Stupid Criminals for free. You haven't been able to say that since 2016.
Well, the best is people are tweeting about you and I with the Dumb Crimes, Stupid Criminals, and other people, I can't hear that. I don't have the premium or whatever. Mm-hmm. Now they get it for free. They get to find out what everyone's talking about.
Now you get to hear the insanity that is Bruiser and I on Dumb Crimes, Stupid Criminals. So Katie, bar the door and cover your kids' ears because Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals, we can't get too carried away, obviously. We want commercial sponsors. But you know, it is what it is. We're going to have some fun with Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals.
It's a good time and you're going to laugh.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee it.
Not much other changes than that. Other than that, on Wednesdays, it's still Supernatural News and Parashare. Of course, we do want your Parashare stories. Send them to Tim at darknessradio.com. Again, we are still working on a phone number for you to send, to call and give us your audio. If you choose to call in and give us your audio. Otherwise, send your stories to Tim at darknessradio.com. We'll read them here on the air. We'll weigh in on them and give us your opinion, or give you our opinion on your stories and what exactly happened to you, if you so choose. And then Thursday, of course, we sit down with someone in the paranormal, whether they had their experience in the paranormal, whether there's someone who handles experiences in the paranormal, the so-called quote-unquote paranormal experts, although I hate that phrase.
I hate that term. That term is, expert, it's such I don't know how to put it without insulting somebody.
I hear you.
There's experienced is what I like to say.
Yeah, someone who's experienced in the paranormal. Coming up this Thursday, we have Karen Anderson on, who is an animal communicator. She doesn't call herself an animal psychic, but an animal communicator. She also communicates with the other side as far as people as well. But a very interesting story. She has a very interesting story, and we'll be sitting down talking with her. Unfortunately, we are not taking ahead of time. We are not taking people's, calls, or we're not calling people ahead of time to get readings with Karen. She only does that by appointment only. I have asked her if she would take a few off air and do readings. Unfortunately, she only keeps that as part of her business, but that's fine. Her story is very, very interesting. And actually she came highly regarded and highly touted by a few different people. So they wanted to hear here on the show. So we go after them. And by the way, if there's someone that you do want to hear here on the show, hit me up, Tim at darknessradio.com. Tell me about someone that you are interested in getting here on the show, someone that you want to hear here on the show, and I'll go get them. That's
right. You're really good at that. You are like a dog with a bone. You know, when somebody wants something and they suggest it, you go and you get it.
I try,
and it's been amazing.
I try,
especially like the hillbilly horror stories we listened to last week. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. not Hillbilly Horror Stories. That's a different friend of ours who's here on Audioboom.
Campfire.
Yep.
Stories. That's what it was.
Jim Pauly is Hillbilly Horror Stories, and he's been on our show. We need to go over on his show. And make an appearance over there. And I think we'll do that here in a few weeks. We might drop in on him. But yeah, Jim Harold's Campfire Stories. He wanted to give people a taste of what it is exactly that Jim does over in his program. And so we made a mutual agreement for him to drop in and give us a taste of what he does over there. And he's very good at what he does over there.
Oh,
so, yeah.
It was very entertaining.
Yeah.
It made my tanning experience exciting because I was listening to it in the tanning bed.
Yeah. So we thank Jim for dropping by and dropping some campfire stories in on us last Thursday. That was very appreciated. Thank you very much for that, Jim. So that's kind of what's the new format, the new old format. Like I said, I keep saying it, folks, and I don't think you believe me, but everything old is new again. So that's kind of what we're doing here on Darkness Radio. We're kind of taking little bits of the old. We're putting new spins on it. And we've got some different things too. Also to this segment on True Crime Tuesday, I do want to bring back the I Knew a Murderer segment. So if you've had experiences where you knew a murderer, let's say you happen to know them when you were younger and you found out that they murdered somebody and it kind of gave you a chill, write me those stories. Send them to tim@darknessradio.com. Or it was something that maybe they committed a murder while you knew them, like immediately, and it was just a surprise. And they went to jail, and it was one of those you could have been the one type of stories. Send that story in as well. tim@darknessradio.com. I get enough of them, we'll make a segment out of it. So,
I'm going to have to talk to a guy I know in New Jersey. I'm not going to say his name over the air, but his grandparents, their babysitter was Ed Gein.
No.
Yeah. And so the story is I was in New Jersey for a wrestling show, underwater needlepoint show.
Yep.
And I was wearing my Milwaukee Brewers hat because I always represent the Brew Crew. And he taps me on the shoulder and goes, "You a big Brewers fan?" I says, Yeah. He says, "Well, I'm from Stevens Point, Wisconsin." So, of course, both of us being from Wisconsin, he started sharing stories, and I jumped in his car and spent the weekend with him. And it came out, I'm a big fan of serial killers and whatnot, and was telling him about my wife's paranormal experiences in the Ed Gein room at the Zach Baggins Haunted Museum, and he started giggling. I said, "What's so funny?" He says, the gas station on the corner up there in the hometown of Ed Gein? I says, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, my family owns that." And he goes, "The restaurant that they called 911 the police from?" And I says, "Yeah." He says, "Yeah, my family owns that too." And he goes, "And my grandparents, his grandmother specifically, used to be babysat by Ed Gein." I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Oh, yeah."
Oh.
And I was like, he's like, "I'll have to tell you some stories that they told me about good old Eddie." They called him Eddie. Eddie Gein.
Okay, that's
I'll have to reach out to him and have him either email me or email you some of those stories.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, if you get him to email you, pass it along, and we'll. Yikes! Oh, that'll make your stomach turn.
Gosh, yes.
What we're going to do today, Bruisers, the first part of our program, we're going to do Ripped from the Headlines. We've done it before on the program here. Stories that might have fallen through the cracks on a national basis that you haven't heard, because we do have a lot going on in our world. There's a lot going on the headlines that these stories may have been buried. Then the second part of the program here today, Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals, the return of dumb crime, stupid criminals. And boy, there's some interesting ones. One of them I'm bringing back. I know we probably read it in the last week or two, but I've had, I think, and I swear to you, it's probably been 8 or 9 people who have sent it to me this week. It's that salacious, and you're probably going to have to cover people's ears. It is an NSFW type story. There's a couple of them at the end of the program here that you're probably going to have to turn way down or put on headphones if you're at work, or if you're around the kids. You're just gonna and I'll give you that warning. You'll just have to just get it away from anybody who's it's not safe for.
Earmuff the kids.
Earmuff the kids, exactly. Let's start out with Ripped from the Headlines. We start out in Indiana, where an Indiana man appeals his life sentence for killing his ex-girlfriend and eating her.
Oh.
Well, we're starting out strong today, Bruiser.
We are.
Yes, exactly. We go to Clark County, Indiana, where a man currently serving a life sentence for killing his ex-girlfriend in 2014, then eating parts of her body, is appealing his prison term.
What? Because why? He wants another taste?
Oh, God. That would not have aged well, I guess. There's such a thing as aging steak. I don't think the human body ages well.
I don't think so either.
No. Court records show that Joseph Oberhansley's attorneys filed a nearly 50-page appeal to his life sentence on May 31st for the death of Tammy Jo Blanton. According to the document, Oberhansley underwent a competency exam in 2017, was diagnosed with schizophrenia or a general psychotic disorder. He was declared unfit for trial and spent 8 months in a mental health facility. 2 months after his release, his attorneys again filed a motion that he was incompetent for trial, but they later withdrew his insanity plea. Oberhansley previously served 13 years in prison in Utah for killing the mother of his child and shooting his own mom and himself in the head. Sounds like a great guy.
He shot himself in the head?
I guess.
It didn't take, did it?
Not a good shot when it comes to shooting himself. His mother survived, though Oberhansley was seriously injured. The appeal says Oberhansley and Blanton started dating in spring of 2014, and they moved in together in June of that year. On September 8th, Blanton reportedly went to work and told her friend Tessa Shepard she felt as if she had been repeatedly raped by Oberhansley over the weekend. Blanton reportedly broke up with him that night and stayed with a friend. He reportedly showed up to her workplace the next day and tried going to her home, but she changed the locks. On September 11th at 3 a.m., Blanton called police to report Oberhansley was pacing between the front and back doors, trying to get inside the home. Police showed up and Oberhansley eventually left. Blanton did not show up to work that morning, so Shepard called her phone, and a man claiming to be Blanton's brother answered. Though she recognized Oberhansley's voice, Shepard called another one of Blanton's friends, who then called police. Officers then showed up at Blanton's house and reportedly saw Oberhansley on the porch with a cut on his hand and a brass knuckle in his pocket. Officers made their way into Blanton's house and saw a big bloody mound of something in the bathtub.
Ooh.
Which turned out to be Tammy's body.
Yeah.
She had reportedly been stabbed multiple times, and according to the appeal, the front part of her skull had been removed and a portion of her brain was missing. Dear God. While speaking with officers, Oberhansley reportedly said he saw visions and he started tingling. He later admitted he ate Tammy's heart and told police that he had demons coming out. According to the appeal, Dr. Heather Henderson Galligan met Oberhansley on September 18th of 2014, and they had 5 sessions together. She reportedly noted that she had not seen this level of sickness in her 23 years of practice. At his trial in September of 2020, Oberhansley was convicted of murder and burglary, but acquitted of rape. Oberhansley's attorneys argue that his right of due process was violated and are petitioning the court to end his life term without parole and remand his case to the trial court with an order to impose a term of years.
Either way, this guy needs to be locked up in a mental hospital, at the very least.
Yeah.
It sounds like he has a lot of mental issues going on, and I don't think he was medicated when he visited his ex that night.
No, it definitely sounds like there was no medication involved in that situation. And speaking of Bruiser, I want to dive into a case that has been ongoing for a while.
Okay.
And it involves a movie star that you and I are quite familiar with, and a movie that you and I are looking forward to. And that's the Flash movie.
Oh, yeah.
And Ezra Miller. This case,
he's kind of gone off the deep end lately.
Yeah, and he went over it big time this past weekend. A DC star has kidnapped a teenager and vanished. Authorities are continuing to search. Ezra Miller has surprisingly vanished after recent allegations of brainwashing and grooming a teenage girl. Just as a forethought on the side of this story, I don't know if you saw the video of her or not.
No, I haven't seen any video of her. I've seen his public antics, and there's something going on with him. He's having a breakdown of some sort.
Yeah, this girl came out with a video denying that she was being groomed, but at the same time, she's looking all over the place. It's like shot in front of a computer or in front of a phone, but she's looking over the top of it like she's reading a script, or like she's looking for approval from whoever it is that's over the top of the device that she's reading from. It's very weird.
He probably was there telling her what to say.
Yeah.
Or they talked about it earlier, and she was looking for, because when people are groomed like that, they unconsciously want to be given an attaboy, or you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
So that's probably what was happening, is she was looking for the approval of him.
Yeah, it was very weird. The Flash actor, which comes out in 2023, hasn't been in the best spotlight after assaulting people in Hawaii. One incident including him throwing a chair at a woman, which has left Miller in a tough spot. As of right now, their career with Warner Brothers is up in the air because the company had discussed terminating the contract with the actor after his recent actions in Hawaii, but decided not to. The recent allegations might be the final straw for Miller's career as Barry Allen in The Flash. Miller also starred in the Fantastic Beasts franchise, but his future in the wizarding world might also be done. Johnny Depp once played Grindelwald before facing allegations of abuse from his ex-wife Amber Heard, and the actor also lost his role with Warner Brothers due to what Heard claimed he did. The court that issued the restraining order on Miller hasn't been able to reach the actor due to local authorities being unable to find him, or both of them, rather. With Miller being such a hot topic of debate, fans will surely spot him soon, meaning that the actor can't hide in plain sight. The concerning part is that, according to the LA Times, the actor also has Takata, the teenage girl he is accused of brainwashing with them. Miller has been accused of physically and emotionally abusing the girl, and also reported having had sex with her back in January of 2022. Right now, Takata's parents are concerned about the influence that Miller has on their daughter and worry that the actor might take their daughter away from them. Chase Iron Eyes, the attorney working with Takata's parents, reported that Miller and Takata couldn't be located. A court trial was approved, but the problem is that the actor can't be reached. Chase Iron Eyes expressed his frustration with trying to reach Miller and Takata due to the two being so hard to reach. They move around so much that they were stuck in this legal limbo situation, and we can't serve them in any place they're in long enough, he said. They've been flighty. They've been avoiding service, and now there's public pressure mounting on them to make a decision, which makes us very concerned about Ezra's volatile nature. We're working very hard to get this order enforced wherever they are. That's the statement from Iron Eyes.
How old is Takata?
I believe she's now of age, but when he started courting her, she was, I believe, 12. I have to go into the story to look at it here.
Yeah.
The court trial is set for July 12th, but the family is concerned that Miller will try to avoid the trial altogether. The actor is known to get violent, as he had choked a fan a few years back while the actor's career was just getting started. Miller has ruined any chance of them having any big roles now due to their controversial actions. There's also a story that was put out, an interesting story at that, by Marca.com, M-A-R-C-A, which says that, and it's basically comparing Ezra Miller's actions to Charles Manson, and that his behavior is reminiscent of it. And it's kind of interesting the way they draw the parallel. It says the internet is already starting to make some comparisons that Ezra Miller is not going to appreciate, and that their behavior is beginning to resemble that of Charles Manson when he was young. It says, we are obviously talking about the mastermind behind the Tate LaBianca murders, Charles Manson. This tragedy from 1969 was just a culmination of many years in which Manson groomed a number of young men and women to do his bidding. He provided them with several psychoactive drugs that included cannabis and LSD in a more prominent fashion. Manson had ideas of grandeur and a dream of creating a revolution that ended in the ruthless murder of Sharon Tate when she was pregnant with director Roman Polanski's child. Although Manson wasn't physically involved in the murders, he was the man behind the whole plan, and he was eventually convicted of the crimes. Manson had an intoxicating personality that made women fall in love with his ideas, and men follow him almost blindly. The recent information about Ezra Miller's behavior with the young Dakota Iron Eyes is very reminiscent to the cult-like personality Charles Manson had when he was younger. The article goes on to say, we are not saying Ezra will ever commit any of these type of crimes, but they are certainly playing with fire amid the signs they are currently on display. If they aren't stopped in due time to get professional help, Ezra Miller is in danger of making even greater mistakes than the ones they already made. If studios such as Warner Brothers decided to hear Ezra Miller's side of the story from the Hawaii arrest, surely these accusations will prompt them to act far more swiftly than they have so far. If these accusations are true in any shape or form, and they are proved by the authorities, Ezra Miller should never be welcomed in Hollywood ever again. This is according to the article, of course. Before any major studio considers this, the actor needs to seek professional help and have the intention of changing his patterns of behavior. The reason many internet users are starting to feel this behavior is Charles Manson-like has a reason behind it. It says, even if the girl's parents are not telling the whole truth, this behavior from Miller is alarming at the least, and the writing is on the wall. And then it quotes a tweet from Sarah Jumping Eagle that's dated 12/31/21. Ezra Miller shows up with a group. We have dinner a few weeks later. Ezra gives Dakota LSD. F's with her mind, it says. Physically assaults Dakota, which was witnessed. Ezra's grooming behavior includes everyone. Wish knew then what know now, it says. I won't be silent. Hashtag gaslighted. Whitney works for Ezra, is all that the tweet says, which is interesting.
So he's willingly given her psychotic drugs to make her think what he wants her to think. That's how Manson did control his followers, is lots of drugs. And then when they were at that peak of tripping, he would put into their head, hey, this is what we need to do. So I can see Ezra doing that. I mean, he's got the personality just from the interviews I've seen of him. He's got the great personality. He's got the people want to hang out with him type thing. And it's a cult leader,
Yeah, kind of interesting. It's interesting, the behavior that's going on, and whether that's what he's trying to establish, I don't know.
I wonder who else is a part of this group, because in that tweet it said Ezra showed up with a group. It did point out just Takata as far as the abuse and the drugs, but I'm wondering if they travel as a group like Manson did. In
that group was Chase Iron Eyes, who was cited as his lawyer in the case, and then there were a few other people who were younger in that group, but they're not identified.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if they all travel, because that's what that's why they were the Manson family, is they would travel to different places, eventually settling on the Spahn Ranch.
Yeah,
when that's where they left to do all the crimes. But if the pattern is the same, he's going to be traveling with this group, fueling with drugs and stuff. He has the money for it, you know.
Yep.
The money he made off of those two movies alone could be enough to move people around to different compounds.
Well, and here's the kicker. You've got this huge movie that Warner Brothers is sitting on, this huge DC franchise that, for all intents and purposes, they've spent what, $200 million on, I believe it is.
Yep.
And they're counting on it for 2023 to be one of their huge movies.
It's supposed to be the relaunch of the DC universe.
Yeah,
is what I've heard. The first was the Batman with Robert Pattinson. That was supposed to set the tone. And then I believe the Flash is one, and now they're talking a new Superman movie with the guy that plays Superman on Lois and what is it? Superman and Lois on the CW. And the Batman did pretty well in the theaters. Did pretty well streaming. So they're hoping the Flash does this too. I don't know if people can separate the actor from the character though. If he's doing all this stuff,
yeah,
especially to a 12-year-old when they first started. So if she's of age now, he's been grooming her this whole time. And then if he's got a bunch of followers and stuff, like that movie's not going to do well. People will boycott it, especially if this all comes out beforehand.
I got to think, and it's a fine line because Warner Brothers is going to argue, well, we have to get our money out of it. I don't know that they shelved the movie.
I don't think they'll shelve it. I think they'll air it.
Yeah.
Look at what they did with Dark Knight.
Yeah.
After Heath Ledger passed away.
Yeah. I think it gets released. And that
was a drug overdose. You know what I mean? They didn't hide it at all.
Yeah. So. It gets released, but then I think they probably, after this, if they have to continue the series, don't you think? I mean, because the rumor is that this movie centers around, I know we're getting into comic book culture and geek culture, but I think they probably at that point do some sort of alternate universe type thing where they bring in Grant Gustin from the Flash TV series.
I've heard that rumor that they were going to do that and that they're going to plant the seed in this movie. I know he goes, again, comic book nerd, but he does go into the Time Force. And he does learn how to travel through time in the movie. And that's what causes Flashpoint. And I know there's a Flashpoint movie in the works because Jeffrey Dean Morgan signed on to play Thomas Wayne, which I'm super excited about. He's a great actor.
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
Yep.
And I know this is the movie that's supposed to spawn that movie.
Yeah.
So that they're going to have to release it.
Yeah.
It's if he gets prosecuted before that, he can't do the media and the press tours and all that.
No.
So they bring Grant in because he's familiar with the character?
No, I think you have to. At that point, it's a soft release. You don't go after it as hard as you can, like they're doing with Black Adam right now, where they're dropping all these hints even long before a trailer is even out there. I mean, it's right now.
That movie's going to be huge, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
The Rock is the next megastar.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I think this is the movie that launches him into that megastardom.
Yep. Although it looks really chintzy.
It does.
Yeah.
Again, comic book fan. I didn't get why they're creating just a Black Adam movie. Why not? Because he's a Shazam character. You know what I mean? Like,
well, they bring the Justice Society forward.
Yeah, and it's just, I don't know. I know why they did it because it's The Rock, and The Rock is hot right now. You know, but I don't. It's going to be one of those movies that you go to see because The Rock's in it, and that's about it. Hopefully, I'll be pleasantly surprised, with it. The Flash movie, I've been looking for it forever, and then all of a sudden he starts doing all this weird stuff. I'm like, man, I hope they don't shelve it. And then I was actually talking to my comic book geek friend. He said the same thing. He said that this movie launches 4 other different franchises off this one movie because he finds the Time Force.
Yeah.
So they have to. In order for, and they can't go back and reshoot it.
No.
That'd be too expensive. No,
so Warner Brothers, I think, is they've got their in a ringer, I think, over this. I think it's
because it was not only him but Amber Heard too with Aquaman 2.
But think of it,
they're getting slapped hard. And the DC movies don't do as well as Marvel movies. That's common knowledge. You know?
Yeah. Although
the Marvel universe is amazing. The DC has the animated section of everything.
Although the DC movies are getting better. They really are.
They are. I mean, I enjoyed the Batman. I thought the Batman was great. You and I talked about that off air.
Yeah.
Because it's part of one of my favorite comics, which is Long Halloween,
I honestly thought up until this last Wonder Woman movie, I thought the Wonder Woman movies are really good.
This last one was so bad, though.
Yeah, it was.
So bad.
Yeah.
And then they released the Snyder Cut, which you're like, okay, this is cool, but they're never bringing Snyder back.
No.
No. I heard they're bringing out they just announced a Joker 2, which would be good.
Yes,
you don't watch a Joker movie for Joker. You watch a Joker movie for Batman.
Yeah.
You know, and he's going to be too young at that. I don't know what they're doing. This is comic book, not true crime, but you know.
Yeah. Yeah. But
I think Warner Brothers is going to start doing something with their actors from now on, because with the Amber Heard situation, now the Ezra Miller situation, they're going to have to put something in their contracts that you have to be on your best behavior.
Well, supposedly there is. That's the thing.
Okay.
There is. There is good behavior clauses in every contract. Now, I want you to think about this for a second. In Manson's case, he was the odd one out that, you know, he was the one who was trying to approach the Beach Boys, and he had made songs that they actually, you know, Dennis Wilson.
One of them.
Yeah, Dennis Wilson was kind of grooving on it. He thought they were good songs, but never quite hit that level of stardom. Here you have the opposite. You have an actor who's incredibly talented, has already appeared in movies, and is having a franchise being put around him, and he's done the opposite. Now the weird behavior is coming out.
See, I think the weird behavior was always there, but now that he's in the spotlight, it's kind of now we see it. Plus, also too, struggling actors don't make a ton of money, so you can't really fund something, you know, unless you do what Manson did, where you steal and you lie and manipulate. Now he's got unlimited, because after Justice League came out, you know, he was the new kid on the block. He got a bunch of stuff, so now he's got all this money to fund. Because, you know, obviously there's drugs involved. You know, that tweet proved there's drugs involved. That's expensive. He's obviously traveling with at least one other person.
Yeah.
You know, so he's paying for that. You know, I started off with how expensive gas is and everything right now. And now he's in hiding. You know, he's a very recognizable person. He can't just, you know, he can't hide in plain sight. So he's got to pay for all that. So now I think the weird behavior was always there. It was just toned down because he didn't have the means to do it. But now that he has the means to do it, it's starting to come forward. And also too, you got to think too that he sounds like he's a narcissist. Narcissists, when they're given the spotlight and they're given all that attention, their narcissism grows. So he's probably, you know, thinking he's bigger than he actually is.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Oh,
you know.
Yeah. The fact that he's getting coverage for these different things is feeling, you know, it's feeling that little fire that's going in him, that, you know, he's doing all these things, yet he's not being touched. I mean, he's getting mentions, but he really isn't being charged per se, or he's not being thrown into jail.
Right. Yeah. He hit a fan or whatever, and he only got a slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm wondering how much Warner Brothers had to do with that.
I'm sure a lot. Yeah.
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 But they obviously can't. This is an underage girl, or former underage girl, and who knows who else is with him. Again, we know of her because the parents came forward. And the parents are the ones that are creating all the noise. What if these other people that are with him are of age, but they're still, you know, it's just like being sucked into a cult, you know? The cult might not be doing anything illegal to the modern world, but then you have that one person make the noise, and you go and you look into it, and now all of a sudden the skeletons in the closet come out.
Well, that's the thing. Somebody has to come forward and start looking into it. They have to prove that he's trafficking some sort of drugs or something, some sort of RICO charge or something going between states has to be happening in order to really be digging into Ezra Miller and his activities. You know, in order to get something on him. Otherwise, you know, he's just a kid who's acting weird.
And Manson, I hate to say he was smart, but he was smart because he didn't commit the two murders that are famous. He did commit a murder. You know, he did murder somebody. That's why he went to prison. But he didn't commit that. He passed it off. You know, so anything that's, I wonder if Ezra Miller, if anything's happening illegally within his world, if he can be, they can point the finger at him like, hey, he's the one that did it, or is he making other people do it?
See, I would think he wouldn't be getting his hands dirty at all.
I don't think so either.
No. Mm-mm.
And I think his followers would be like, you know, we agree, because he's the cash cow. He's the money man.
Yep. Exactly. Let's move on. Let's go to Florida, of course, where an armed Florida man who allegedly held his girlfriend hostage was killed by a SWAT member.
Oh, Well, that's why you don't hold your girlfriend hostage.
You try not to. We go to, is it Wimauma, Florida? That's a different area. A murder suspect who barricaded himself inside a shed while allegedly holding his girlfriend hostage was reportedly shot dead. According to a news release from the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Department on June 8th, shortly before 12 a.m., deputies responded to the 5600 block of Center Street to a report of a homicide. Upon authorities' arrival, the body of a deceased male was located with upper body trauma in a nearby vehicle. At the scene, the deputies attempted to enter a shed where the homicide suspect, later identified as Juan Sarmiento, was shouting profanities. He could be shooting them too, you never know. And would later make threatening statements toward the deputies on the scene, the sheriff's office says. Sarmiento reportedly told authorities he was holding someone hostage inside the shed and was armed. A female voice could be heard from inside the shed, according to the sheriff's office. Shortly before 12:40 a.m., the sheriff's office says the SWAT team, crisis negotiating team, and bomb disposal team assisted with the investigation, and a dialogue with the suspect took place for approximately 9 hours. Sarmiento allegedly made progressively more threatening statements, such as, "I'm not coming out and I'm not letting the victim out," according to the sheriff's office. Eventually, a SWAT operator reportedly shot Sarmiento, and life-saving measures were performed. Sarmiento was transported to a hospital where he was pronounced deceased, according to the sheriff's department. In a statement, Hillsborough County Sheriff Chad Cronister said, "Ultimately, this is never the outcome we want to see in incidents such as these. Thanks to the brave actions of the friend who called our dispatch center to report the shooting, we were able to save a woman who was held hostage and potentially in a life-threatening situation." The investigation remains ongoing as authorities work to identify the body found in the vehicle, and as Sarmiento's girlfriend is being interviewed by investigators, WFLA TV reports. Detectives have reportedly concluded that the victim stayed in the same home as Sarmiento's girlfriend. According to the sheriff's office, Sarmiento had a criminal past, including charges of aggravated assault and an aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. Nice guy.
So just a very angry man.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
I wonder if it's going to come out that the man he shot and the girlfriend were having an affair, and that's why he did it.
You never know.
It's weird locking yourself in a shed, though. Like, why would you... Especially if you're going to be in there for a while, wouldn't you want some sort of comfort?
Not if it saves your life. No.
True.
You know. Plus, you never know how long you're going to be in there.
Yeah, true.
You know. California drug dealer reportedly is held for ransom, fatally shot and burned in Baltimore.
It's a trifecta, huh?
It is. Federal agents arrested a man they believe held a California drug dealer hostage, then shot and set him on fire in May. On May 8th, Baltimore police said Southwest District patrol officers were dispatched to the 300 block of Furrow Street at 7:21 p.m. to assist fire department officials. The fire department was called to extinguish flames in an apparent vacant dwelling, but they reportedly found a body inside the residence when the blaze died down. The victim reportedly had suffered gunshot wounds. Days later, on May 16th, the Baltimore Police Department identified the victim as Miguel Soto Diaz. According to WJZ-TV, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives, I'll get that right eventually, Bruiser, I will, arrested Zion Fats Thompson in connection with Soto's death. The warrant cited by WJZ alleges Diaz was a drug trafficker from California who came to Baltimore to work on marijuana deliveries in the city. Diaz was reportedly negotiating a deal with Thompson when Thompson allegedly held him hostage for $50,000 and 200 pounds of weed.
Gotta get that weed.
I guess.
And Baltimore's a legal state. Come on now. Or Maryland is a legal state.
I guess. But you can't get it as cheap as this.
I guess.
Thompson was reportedly booked on charges of interference with interstate commerce by extortion and conspiracy to possess with intent to distribute controlled substances. A witness and one of Diaz's alleged associates reportedly received a FaceTime call from Thompson demanding the money and showing Diaz zip-tied to a chair with duct tape over his mouth. Thompson allegedly used a burner phone to send the associate another photo of Diaz. WBAL-TV, which also cites the court documents, reports Thompson texted the friend. Poppy said, send the bags and money so he can be okay. And he said, don't call the police or he won't be coming home. We had a long conversation, 200 bags and $50,000. According to WJZ, an ATV agent reportedly wrote in the warrant, I believe that Thompson pre-planned the abduction and robbery of Soto Diaz, as evidenced by his purchase of what he believed to be a phone number that could not be traced back to him. Baltimore police said they are offering up to $8,000 in reward money for tips about the case. Only $8,000?
I was going to say only 8,000?
It must not be that important to him.
We're in the middle of an inflation. Come on, Baltimore.
Yeah, really. Inflation.
You want this guy or not?
Yikes. This next one.
I don't get the dealing drugs in a legal state. Like, dealing marijuana in a legal. You know, I get some people don't want to spend the money, but you're spending money on it anyways. Why not do it legally? You know?
It's the difference between $300 and $60.
True.
$50-$60. That's
the dispensary. You're getting the nice, high quality, good stuff. The $60.
Not necessarily, my friend. So you got a guy coming from California. I'll set you straight on this real quick. Okay. All right. Not that I know for certain, but I'll tell you where the so you got a guy coming from California with the Kush, the Chronic, whatever he's got on him, right? He's coming with the good stuff, right? And he's got what, 200 pounds? Is that what was in the story?
Yes.
Okay, so 50 grand and 200 pounds, which is relatively cheap compared to going to the dispensary. Now, if you go to the dispensary and you're getting flour from the dispensary, like here in Minnesota, they now sell flour. And in Illinois, they sell flour. Mm-hmm. But not every dispensary where it's legal sells flour.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Some only sell vape. And some only, most like in Las Vegas, they sell flour. Okay.
Yeah.
But you can only get bud at certain dispensaries in certain states. Most of them sell it, but not all. And I don't know if Maryland does or not.
I believe Maryland does.
Okay. But if they do, they sell it to 3 to 4 times the amount that you can get it on the street.
Okay. So,
and even though it's pure, it's not grown with a super strain like you can get on the street. So it's a good strain, but it's not a good strain. You know, it's not that kind that'll knock you out, you know?
Yeah.
That's the strain you get. Like, you know, you can't get the California Chronic in Maryland at a dispensary. That's not, you know.
No, you got to find McGill in order to do it. Well,
you'll get a medicinal strain, which is meant to, the strains that you get at a dispensary are grown and made to take care of specific conditions.
Right.
So, like, say I'm going in for pain, those are grown for pain management. You know, they're grown to help with certain conditions. Mm-hmm. The stuff that you get on the street, you know, that's grown. That's like a, you know, that's like a bomb. It's just to hit you, you know.
Yeah. It
makes you sleepy. It makes you, you know, it basically gives you the munchies. It does whatever. It's a big bomb, you know.
It's if you want to party.
Yeah, exactly. That's your party weed. Whereas the stuff that's given to you at the dispensary is truly medicinal. It's set up to, you know, you can order it tailored to what it is you need. Maybe it gives you less fatigue and it gives you more pain management, or, you know, it's there for a reason, and they've tailored it or grown it for a specific reason. So
Science is crazy.
Yeah, there you go. Botany, my friend, botany.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yep. Let's move on to your neck of the woods over there. 2 North Carolina women have been charged after, and this is kind of a disturbing story, I'll warn you right off the bat. They've been charged after children in their care were allegedly hit with metal knuckles.
Oh.
Yeah. We go to Burke.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You don't need to do that.
No, you don't. We go to Burke County, North Carolina. 2 women faced charges after children in their care were allegedly hit with metal knuckles, according to a press release from the Burke County Sheriff's Office on Friday, June 10th, around 12:43 p.m. The Department of Social Services, Child Protective Services were alerted about child abuse allegations against Natalie Shane Childress of Gold Creek Road in Connolly Spring, North Carolina. She had allegedly struck children in her care and control with a pair of metal knuckles, inflicting serious physical injury. Authorities reportedly tried to contact the mother of the children at the home, Jessica Sanders, and Sanders told Child Protective Services that the children were not at the residence. Upon a search, the sheriff's office says deputies found the children hiding in the home, and due to the injuries, they were transported to a hospital. The women were interviewed, and Childress was arrested and charged with negligent child abuse, inflicting severe bodily injury. Sanders was reportedly arrested and charged with aiding and abetting negligent child abuse, inflicting severe bodily injury. The 2 women were booked into the Burke County Magistrate with bonds set at $250,000. Not enough, in my opinion, according to the sheriff's office. So there you go.
There's no reason you should be hitting a child with brass knuckles.
That's
no
right.
reason.
That's right.
And the damage they do is ungodly. I think you can remove skin if you hit in the right spot with that.
Yep. We go to your old home there, Bruiser, Wisconsin. A retired judge was fatally shot in a targeted act, allegedly by a man he previously sentenced to prison. We go to Juneau County, Wisconsin, where a 56-year-old man died Tuesday after he allegedly shot a retired judge to death, then turned the gun on himself in what officials say was a targeted attack. According to the Wisconsin Department of Justice, on Friday, June 3rd, at 6:30 a.m., the Juneau County Sheriff's Office received a call about shots fired and an armed man at a residence in New Lisbon. The person who called police reportedly left the home and dialed 911 from another residence. Law enforcement officials arrived on the scene and attempted to negotiate with the suspect, Douglas Udi, I believe his name is, to surrender. A Juneau County Special Tactics and Response team reportedly entered the home at 10:17 a.m. and discovered 68-year-old Judge John Romer deceased. Officials soon located Udi in the home's basement with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He was transported to a nearby hospital in critical condition. Investigators also reportedly seized a firearm at the scene. The Associated Press reports that Udi died Tuesday, June 7th, and was reportedly declared brain dead Saturday, June 4th, but he was kept on life support for organ donation purposes. The Wisconsin Department of Justice said in a statement that Romer's death was a targeted act. According to the Associated Press, Romer had been zip-tied to a chair and shot. Romer, a retired Juneau County Circuit Court judge, previously sentenced Udi to 6 years in prison for weapons charges. Udi allegedly had a list of other high-ranking officials he planned to target, including Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer and Senator Mitch McConnell. The Associated Press reports that Wisconsin Attorney General Josh Kaul said the information that's been granted indicated that it was a targeted act and that the targeting was based on some sort of court case or court cases. Former Juneau County District Attorney Scott Southworth described Romer to the Wisconsin Rapids Tribune as a brilliant legal scholar who devoted an incredible amount of time to doing the right thing. You know, coincidentally, there was a second attempt. I'm trying to remember if I pulled the story or not, but there was a second attempt on Justice Kavanaugh.
Really?
Week. Yeah. Let me see. Let me pull it up real quick. Justice Kavanaugh had a man he was mentally ill, tried to sneak into his home and assassinate him. But believe it or not, that man called 911 on himself, and it turns out he is schizophrenic.
Okay. So he realized it before he could do anything.
Yeah, essentially, he was in the course of the act, and let me pull up the story here. But it's interesting, and I don't know why. I mean, I understand in that story. They detail the reason why, but so here it is. The suspect near Kavanaugh's house called 911 on himself. The Californian faces attempted murder count. The California man arrested past Wednesday outside of Justice Brett Kavanaugh's home has been charged with attempted murder of a Supreme Court justice. A federal affidavit identified the man as 26-year-old Nicholas John Roski of Simi Valley. The New York Times reported that the document says that the man was carrying a suitcase and backpack that held, among other items, a black tactical chest rig and tactical knife, a pistol, 2 magazines, ammunition, pepper spray, zip ties, and a hammer. He intended to break into the justice's house in the Maryland suburbs of D.C., kill him, then commit suicide, much like the suspect we were just talking about, according to the filing. Before his arrest, he had called 911 after arriving near Kavanaugh's house, per the Washington Post and Fox News. In addition to threatening the justice, he said he was having suicidal thoughts, according to prosecutors. Roski stated that he had began thinking about how to give his life a purpose and decided that he would kill the Supreme Court justice. The affidavit says he was still on the phone when Montgomery County police officers arrived. The filing does not say which justice the suspect intended to kill. A Supreme Court spokesperson confirmed that a man was arrested near Kavanaugh's home after threatening him. He appeared in court Wednesday afternoon with a public defender at his side. When the judge asked Roski if he understood what was going on, he answered, "I think I have a reasonable enough understanding, but I wouldn't say I'm thinking clearly." He told the judge that he was on medication and that he had taken it on Wednesday, per the Post. Roski agreed to be held until trial, waiving a bond hearing. So clearly he's has some mental issues, and
I think it's weird that they booked him on attempted murder when he didn't attempt anything. You'd think it'd be conspiracy to murder because he was just planning it. He didn't actually attempt to do it.
It's attempted because he actually packed the bag and it was starting to follow through with it.
Okay.
The fact that he'd packed that bag, that he'd actually shown up at the house, is an attempt.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why there's an attempt there. Had he just, it'd be a conspiracy if he had said, if he was sitting outside his house and he had everything sitting there, then it's a conspiracy. But
well, hopefully he gets the help he needs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Instead of just throwing, hopefully our judicial system has learned that with people like that, especially, instead of throwing them in prison, give them the help they need. Put them in a mental hospital. Let them get the help they need.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it's just and you know what? We're at a weird time in society as well, too. I mean, in these two cases with going after judges, clearly there is some issues of mental illness there. And by all means, if you feel like you're losing control, if you feel like something's not right, definitely reach out and get help. That's all that needs to be said there. And but if there's issues of anger, if there's issues of you feel like you're losing control over personal feelings, you also want to reach out and talk to somebody as well, because it's one thing to be angry over an issue. It's another thing when you start lashing out. That's not normal. That's not.
Well, and I'm curious what the original guy was angry about, because you said he went after he killed the judge, but then he also had Senator McConnell and the governor of Michigan on his list too. It's like, I don't get the connection between the three.
I don't either.
So, and only he's the only one that knew, and he's gone now. So,
yeah, exactly. We continue on. Ripped from the headlines, an Indiana man accused of fatally hitting his ex with his car after sending her an ominous message. Yikes.
Was the ominous message, turn around, honk, honk.
I guess. Look out, here I come. A 27-year-old man was arrested after allegedly fatally hitting his girlfriend with a car, according to a news release from the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department on Wednesday, June 1st at around 11 a.m. Officers responded to the 3000 block of South Rural Street to a report of a bicyclist struck by a car. At the scene, authorities reportedly found 29-year-old Kayla Bowling laying in the driveway at 3002 South Rural Street near a bicycle, suffering from trauma consistent with being struck by a vehicle. Bowling was transported to a hospital, but she was pronounced deceased shortly after her arrival, according to police. Upon her investigation, investigators reportedly identified Kyle Rigdon as the hit-and-run suspect. Rigdon, the victim's ex-boyfriend, sent Bowling a Facebook message the day before her death saying, "Have fun with whatever you got going on tonight. Tomorrow will be the biggest wake-up call of your life." Ooh. Jesus. Bowling also reportedly told her mother she feared her ex-boyfriend would kill her. Court documents obtained by WXIN allege Rigdon has stalked and harassed Bowling and even slashed her tires days before. On June 1st, Rigdon reportedly showed up to work and let his employer know he had hurt his girlfriend and requested that his coworker say he had been to work since 10 a.m. or been at work since 10 a.m., though he didn't show up until 12 p.m. It was Rigdon's employer who called police after learning about Bowling's death. On Friday, June 3rd, Rigdon was arrested, police say. Officers reportedly found Rigdon's car in the 4100 block of West Michigan Street and followed him until they took him into custody. Upon searching the vehicle, they found a damaged front left bumper along with grass and dirt on the car. The Marion County Prosecutor's Office will reportedly make the final charging decision. Interesting. I tell you what, let's take a break right here. When we come back, we've got our final ripped from the headline story, and then we'll launch into Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals. We'll do that when we come back. You're listening to the best in true crime podcasting. This is True Crime Tuesday. Welcome back. It's the best in true crime podcasting, True Crime Tuesday. It's Tim Dennis and Beer City Bruiser on a Tuesday, and this is Ripped from the Headlines. This is our final Ripped from the Headlines story, and we're going to lighten it up a little bit before we go into Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals. Are you ready for this, Bruiser?
Oh, I'm ready. Let's lighten this up.
Let's lighten it up a little bit. Baby Holly, who disappeared after her parents were killed, was found alive. Believe it or not.
40 years too, right?
Well, after 40 years.
Yeah, 40 years.
40 years, yeah. We go to Houston, where an infant who went missing when her parents were likely murdered in the 1980s has been located and identified. According to the Texas Attorney General's office, the couple was found dead in a wooded area in Houston in 1981, but it would take 40 years for them to be positively identified as Tina Gail Lynn Klaus and Harold Dean Klaus Jr. Gail and Harold had a little girl named Holly, but she was nowhere to be found when the bodies were discovered. The Klaus family started searching for more answers about Gail and Harold's deaths and baby Holly and her current whereabouts. Several law enforcement agencies worked with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children to track down Holly, who the Attorney General described as alive and well. Holly is now 42 years old and has been told about her parents' identities. Holly's grandmother, Donna Casasanta, said, "Finding Holly is a birthday present from heaven since we found her on Junior's birthday." Several other families say they look forward to meeting and connecting with a family member they wondered about for decades. According to KHOU TV, Holly is a mother of 5 who lives in Oklahoma. First Assistant Attorney General Brent Webster revealed in a press conference that Holly was left at a church in Arizona and taken into their care. Webster shared 2 women who identified themselves as members of a nomadic religious group brought Holly to the church. They were wearing white robes and were barefoot. The family members who raised her are not suspects in the case, but Webster called on the public for help because the case has not yet been closed.
Oh, let's just look for some nomadic religious people wearing robes and barefoot, and there's your killer.
That's right. That is right indeed. That is right indeed.
Because she's not going to remember anything. She was 2.
Oh, yeah. She wouldn't remember. Yeah. Well, there are some people, though, that remember back to the age of, they can remember things from when they were 2 years old. I don't know how they do it, but they do.
And especially if it was a traumatic, like if she was there when it happened, that's traumatic. You'd think and leave an impression.
Yeah. But who knows?
At least they got one positive thing. They got the kid back, so.
That's true. All right, Bruiser, it's that time for Dumb Crimes and Stupid Criminals.
It's Crayon News story time.
What happened with this dude, Christ Bearer? I heard he cut his penis off and then jumped off a balcony.
Suspect pulls gun from butt, shoots twice at Denver police.
What is your emergency?
I need help.
And what's the problem?
I'm too high.
You're too high?
Yeah.
All right, Bruiser, it's that time that people haven't heard in at least the general public that listens to True Crime Tuesday haven't heard in almost 6 years.
We're in new territory for those people, huh?
That's right. So here's how this thing goes. We basically read headlines about just dumb crimes committed by stupid criminals, or maybe there's stories that just you go, oh my God, not again. Or maybe it's like, are you kidding me? That really happened. Or maybe they're just unbelievable things that we just can't believe. Or you'll get the idea once we start reading it off. Some of them are as fresh as this afternoon.
And these all really happened. Like, people have to remember this. These all really happened.
These all really happened. Some of them are funny. Some of them are disappointing. Some of them are
disgusting.
Disgusting, right? It just depends on what we have in front of us. This one's a little disappointing.
Okay.
And we do have to go to the world of underwater needlepoint for this one.
Oh, yes, we do.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Unfortunately, someone that a lot of people grew up watching, some people just watched and are a big fan of, former WWE and now AEW star Jeff Hardy was arrested on a DUI in Florida. Of course, it had to be in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Why wouldn't it be in Florida? Cops say he had a .294 blood alcohol content.
Yep.
Yikes. Now, Jeff has struggled with alcohol addiction.
His was more drug addiction. He was addicted to somas.
Yeah, he had drug addiction in there, but he's admitted to having alcohol addiction too. He did a storyline with Seamus a couple of years ago.
Yep.
Having to do with an alcohol addiction deal. According to the Florida Highway Patrol, Hardy had a blood alcohol content of .294 following his arrest early Monday morning. In police documents obtained by TMZ Sports, officers say they pulled over Hardy after claiming he was driving a white Dodge Charger erratically on Volusia County highways. In the documents, police say they received 4 separate calls regarding the Charger's poor driving pattern. Cops say when they finally caught up to the vehicle, it was traveling significantly under the speed limit, weaving across travel lanes and running off the shoulder of the roadway. Cops say during the stop, the 44-year-old wrestler, really, Jeff Hardy's 44?
Yes, he is.
Wow. That's kind of hard to believe, too. I don't know why, but it just...
Yeah, I think he's been wrestling since he was 15.
Wow. Time moves fast.
Yeah. When he got signed, I think his first time, he was only 21.
Yikes. Cops say during the stop, the 44-year-old wrestler appeared to be in a stupor and confused. Officers say when they finally got Hardy out of the vehicle, he reeked of booze and during field sobriety tests displayed multiple signs of being impaired. They arrested him on the scene and say when they took him back to the station, 2 of his breath samples yielded blood alcohol content readings of .294 and .291. Legal limit in Florida is .08.
It's sad. It's very sad because he's a talented man.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
But he's got those personal demons. I know he got fired from WWE because he was on a house show and they thought he was impaired.
Yeah.
And so they fired him, and then the results came back that he was clean.
Yep.
And he just had a concussion.
Yeah.
And now you're like, I remember when the story came out that he was clean and they wanted him back, and he said no. It's like, oh, good for you. You proved him wrong. And then wake up this morning and you read this article, you're like, come on, man.
Yeah. Well, didn't he now over Double or Nothing weekend, which was just last weekend?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, it was.
So didn't he get concussed?
He got concussed real bad in this match.
Yeah.
But still, concussion doesn't give you a 0.2 whatever.
Yeah, 0.294. Yeah. Yeah. Cops also. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
He has to be beat up. The style of wrestling he does.
Yeah.
And I understand how he got hooked on the painkillers and stuff because of all the stuff. If you guys haven't seen Jeff Hardy wrestle, he's a stunt man. He is a high flyer. He does the craziest stuff. And I know he was really banged up after that Darby Allin match.
Yeah.
That they had.
Oh God, that was brutal.
So it's sad because he slipped back to his old ways. And I'm assuming it's the deal with the pain because he went from that Jeff Hart or the Darby Allin thing to the match at Double or Nothing, getting the concussion. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And
I suppose he figured he could get away with maybe just one to deal with the pain, and it spiraled out of control.
Yeah, addicts can't do just one.
Yeah,
addicts. That's the thing they teach you. You can't do just one.
Yeah. Cops also noted in the docs Hardy's license was suspended following his 2 previous convictions for driving under the influence. They also noted that he had a driving restriction, which required him to have an interlock device in the vehicle, which they said his Charger did not have. I think that's the end of that story there. So there you go.
The interlock stuff always makes me laugh because I remember leaving. It was after an underwater needlepoint show, and we were leaving a gas station, and there was a lady in the parking lot, and she needed one of us to blow on that because the interlock thing, you have to blow and show that you have 0-0.
Yep.
And she really wanted us to. She was willing to pay us, and all of us were like, no, that's illegal. That's really illegal.
that I wonder if she ever got anybody to do that for.
I don't know. We left because it was like. That's super illegal. And if she would kill somebody, how guilty you would feel. She was offering $100.
Wow.
So maybe somebody took it. We didn't. We walked away. It was sad to see. It's maybe don't drink. If that's how you start your car, maybe not drink.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how anybody with a conscience could do that.
I don't know either. I don't know.
That would be awkward. That's for sure. We move on, Bruiser, where upon a fugitive's arrest, he says the only thing to do was smile.
Hey, at least he's looking at everything in a positive light.
I don't think there's a reason to smile for this. Atavist examines the wildlife of Howard Farley Jr., former Nebraska drug king. Let's kind of explain why he was smiling. The life of Howard Farley has been irresistible fodder for writers since Farley's dramatic 2020 arrest in Florida at age 66. Dramatic because everyone in Florida, including his Vietnamese wife, knew Farley as Tim Brown.
Oh.
Yeah. There's the start of things. Friends and neighbors didn't know that Farley assumed his Brown alias after running a large drug network in Nebraska that was busted in the 1980s. Now, Greg Donahue takes a long look at all this in Atavist magazine, tracing Farley's life from days as a rebellious teen in Lincoln to the restlessness that prompted him to take his life savings of $30,000 and buy cocaine to flip at a profit. The story details the growth of his loose-knit blue-collar drug network through its demise and Farley's narrow escape into the life on the lam. He'd planned for the moment, having earlier successfully applied for a Social Security card using the name of a baby who died in the 1950s. It just so happened it worked, Bruiser.
Oh. Well, thank you, U.S. government.
Yeah. Farley lived a carefree life in the Caribbean nations before settling boldly in a Florida community of Love's Landing. But that fake ID eventually did him in, with his name popping up on the computer of a specialist in passport fraud in 2020. Farley went on to say, I had mentally prepared myself for being caught. Farley would also...
a long time to prepare.
He did. Farley would also say, when it happened, with men pointing guns at me, the only thing to do was smile.
Because you knew the jig was up.
That's right. The drug charges against him had expired, but Farley was convicted on identity theft charges. There we go. And was sentenced last year to 4 years in prison. Aw.
Do you think that's going to become a new HGTV show? You know how they have house flipping? This is going to be cocaine flipping?
I'm sure, yes. Coke flipping. ID theft
Coke flipping.
Yeah, Coke flipping on HGTV with Tim Brown, or whatever he wants to call himself. Here's a little interesting thing, Bruiser. If Mrs. Bruiser ever wants to know, and you would never do this, but if Mrs. Bruiser wants to know if you're cheating, she can just throw an Apple AirTag in your bag, and then if you are, she can just run you over with the car 4 or 5 times.
She doesn't need an Apple AirTag to run me over 4 or 5 times. I do enough stuff that she wants to run me over on a daily basis.
It turns out that a 26-year-old girlfriend killed her cheating boyfriend by running him over 3 times with her car after tracking him to a bar using the Apple AirTag and finding him with another woman.
Man, we've come a long way from Joey Greco and cheaters, didn't we?
Oh, I love Joey Greco.
So do I. He was my favorite.
We got to take a time out here. Okay, so if you on there's a few nights a week where if you tune into VH1.
Oh yeah, I watch it.
Okay, yes,
oh, yeah.
Yes. Okay, so you remember the one episode? I think I still have it on the DVR where Joey Greco gets stabbed.
Yep. Oh yeah, he's on the boat and he gets stabbed.
Yes.
And landing going, oh, I'm gonna die.
Yeah. That's the one episode where like he doesn't have balls of steel, right?
Yeah.
Like he's normally like, I'm Joey Greco and this is Cheaters, and did you ever think about that when you were cheating, and did you ever do this and did you ever do that? And they stab Joey and he's like, oh, I'm gonna die.
And then he stopped becoming the on-screen host after that.
Right, because he got scared.
Yeah, he was still a producer and still a field guy.
Right.
But he wasn't and it turns out, I guess the stabbing was fake.
What?
Yeah, there's a rumor that the stabbing was fake.
See, he went on the episode after. You ever seen the episode after that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, where he goes on and he talks about, I'm going to take a back seat and all this other stuff because that was just too scary. I've never had anything happen like that in all my years of TV. And so I thought it was a shoot. I didn't think it was
I
work.
did too.
Yeah.
I want to have a beer with Joey Greco just to sit and talk to him about all the crazy stuff that he's seen.
We should get him on the show.
We should. Yes, we should.
We need to get Joey Greco on this show.
I would fangirl out. Like he is.
Me too.
He was just so like laid. Like, I'm Joey Greco. Welcome to Cheaters. It's like, oh god, yeah. This is it. And then they got Clark Cable III or whatever.
He died.
Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah, he died.
Yeah, he's way dead.
Wait, wasn't it a drug overdose?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was sad. Now there's some hip hop guy who took it over for a little bit.
Yeah, see, I fell off because Joey was the man.
Joey was the man.
Yeah. He didn't run nobody over with their car 3 times.
No, of course. Yeah, I think Joey would be disappointed at today's people. And they're supposed to be rebooting it yet again.
Oh, I hope not. If he's not involved, I'm not going to watch it. And it's got to be that cheesy, bad camera. You can't see anything. Yeah. You know what I mean? It has. They can't change it. They can't change it.
You got to do the enhanced 4K, 8K camera with the Yeah,
and the really bad pixelation of someone's face.
Yeah.
Or the bad audio when they go into a loud bar.
Yeah. And the one DJ who busts everybody. Hey, y'all, Cheaters is here.
We're on Cheaters. Look at us.
Cheaters. Look at. I love it when they walk into a strip bar and like the strip bar DJ is the one who announces.
Oh yeah.
And Sapphire is on stage right now. Everybody give it up for Sapphire. Be sure to dig out your 5s and 10s. Oh, by the way, Cheaters is here. Cheaters is here. Be sure to cover up your face. Cheaters is here.
My other favorite was everybody knows what Cheaters is, minus the person that's being caught. Like,
Yeah,
what is all
yeah.
this? What is all this cameras? What are you doing?
I've never seen a show like this before.
It's like, dude, watch TV.
Yeah, really. Like you haven't seen this stuff at 2 a.m. on a Saturday.
kidding.
Come on, man.
Who doesn't watch? I guarantee you, everybody on this planet has seen at least an episode of Cheaters.
That's right. That's
Guaranteed.
Right. God, we got to get Joey Greco on the show.
We do. He's amazing. And this is a perfect story for him, too. Like, Joey, how would you have handled this?
That's right. That's right.
I guarantee you would have advised the girl to run him over with a car 3 times.
He would have said, no, no violence. No violence.
I've been stabbed. We don't need any of that.
We can talk this out like adults. That's what he would have said. That's right.
He would have looked at it and said, don't you love this woman? She loves you. Don't you love her?
Well, it was the woman who ran over the guy.
Right. But he'd say that to the guy because the guy was the guy. He was the one cheating. Remember?
That's true. Yeah.
Joey hated everybody that was cheating.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. You went after him. Yeah.
Yeah.
A woman in Indiana allegedly tracked down her boyfriend at a bar with an Apple AirTag and killed him by ramming him over 3 times with her car after she saw him with another woman. Ooh, yikes. 26-year-old Galen Morris allegedly hit her boyfriend, 26-year-old Andre Smith, with her vehicle around 12:30 a.m. on June 3rd in the parking lot of an Indianapolis pub called Tilly's. Ooh, that's a bad pun.
Yeah.
You know how you
It's a very bad
till the soil. Officers arrived and located Mr. Smith laying on the ground underneath a vehicle. Indianapolis Metropolitan
She didn't
Police.
even move the car after she hit him last time. She just left it.
She just rested it right on him.
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah. Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department said in a news release it appeared he was struck by the vehicle. No, really? Indianapolis Fire Department Engine Company 6 responded and unfortunately pronounced that Mr. Smith was deceased at the scene. A witness said Morris had told her about how she tracked down Smith with an AirTag, according to a probable cause affidavit for Morris's arrest. She also allegedly said she was in a relationship with the victim and thought he was cheating on her with another woman. That, according to the Indianapolis Star. After arriving at Tilly's, Morris allegedly grabbed an empty wine bottle and swung it at the other woman. Wow. The bottle did not hit her because Smith intervened and caught it. Oh, nice catch.
Hey, good for him.
Moments later, the 3 of them were asked to leave by staff. A witness later shared with police that she was at the bar when she saw Morris pulling forward and clipping Smith with her car in the parking lot. And he went down, at which time Morris then backed over him and then pulled forward and hit him for the 3rd time, the probable cause affidavit states. Morris then allegedly attempted to run after the woman after exiting her vehicle, but police intervened and placed her under arrest. The woman that had initially been at the pub with Smith was not harmed in the incident rather. It wasn't an accident by far. As of Sunday night, Morris is being held behind bars in the Marion County Jail and was preliminarily charged with murder, according to online jail records. The Marion County Prosecutor's Office will assess the charges and whether any additional ones are to be filed. According to local authorities, the suspect is scheduled to appear in court for the first time on Tuesday, according to Law and Crime. The man who was killed, honest to God, he looks like Lil Jon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You hit me with your car. Yeah.
Yeah, he does look like Lil Jon.
He's definitely got crunk.
He's definitely got crunk. Yep. Rest in peace, Lil Jon. So he got hit by a car. Just saying.
He got hit a lot of times by a car. Do you think she backed up because she didn't know if she hit him?
I think she knew. Because there had to be
I know she knew.
You know?
It's not like she was driving on a highway and what was that? Let's back up and see. Oh, okay.
There definitely had to be Yeah.
I like how she left the car on him too. Like that's the ultimate like F you.
Yeah,
Like, not only did I hit you, but I'm gonna leave this on you.
Yeah. By the way, I'm not driving off of you. You're gonna have to deal with it. And can you imagine the fire department comes out and goes, "We're supposed to do what with this?"
Yep, there's a guy. Ma'am, can you move your car, please?
She goes, Okay. You know who would have got that car off that guy?
Who? Joey Greco.
Joey Greco.
Yeah. 100.
Yep, he would have solved it. Just saying. As Americans, we're pretty shitty tourists.
Oh God, yeah, we are. We're terrible.
We're terrible. We're terrible, as Charles Barkley would say. We're terrible.
We're terrible.
Terrible. Completely drunk U.S. tourists have damaged a Rome landmark.
Of course they have. I've seen this video.
Have you seen the video?
I've seen this video, and I just shook my head and went, they already don't like America over there. Why are you doing this?
Yeah. A woman was seen shoving an electric scooter down the Spanish Steps.
Yep.
It's been a rough year for Rome's iconic Spanish Steps. Authorities say 2 American tourists caused $27,000 in damage by pushing and dragging electric scooters down them.
Jeez.
Oh, God. The pair, a 29-year-old man and a 28-year-old woman, were seen on the marble steps in the early hours of June 3rd. The video shows the woman shoving her scooter down the 300-year-old stairs, which were refurbished in 2016. We couldn't even wait for the stairs to set.
Yeah, they're still brand new stairs, brand refurbished stairs.
Yeah.
So 300 years ago, when they built these stairs, they weren't expecting someone to take an electric scooter and just throw it.
Yeah. I say they look very good. I wonder if it'll hold up for the electric scooter. I don't think they were, load testing for electric scooters back then.
No.
They were fined around $430 each. That was it, by the way.
That's it for $27,000 of damage?
That's it. But authorities say the woman was also facing a charge of damaging a monument, which has a maximum penalty of a year in prison or fine of $2,000 or more. Officials say the Americans were completely drunk at the time of the incident, and they have been banned from the site for 6 months. Rome's Office of Cultural Heritage says the scooters left scratches in the stairs and dislodged 4 inches of stone. Holy cow.
Jeez, how hard were they throwing these scooters?
No idea. Weeks earlier, a Saudi man who had taken a wrong turn and drove a Maserati sports car down the steps, damaging at least 2 of them. I guess we're not the only assholes in the world, huh?
Well, his was a mistake. He probably was listening to Alexa or Siri, and it said, turn right here. There's no road. Turn right here, asshole. There's no road. Turn now.
God. Speaking of being a bad tourist.
Okay.
Have you ever had to go to the bathroom so bad you pissed in an elevator?
Yes, I have.
Have you?
I've been that drunk.
Really?
Yeah. I marked at the peeing corner.
Really?
Yeah.
It's an elevator ride. You haven't been able to hold through an elevator ride?
I was really drunk and we were joking around and somebody said, well, what happens if the elevator stops? I said, well, you're going to mark a peeing corner. So I went in the corner and I peed.
It's like that scene from The Office where Dwight has to mark.
Where do you think I got it from?
Oh my God. The Boston Transit Agency really wants you to hold it while you're in the elevator.
Okay. I wasn't in Boston.
Don't cut one off there. Massachusetts Bay Transportation Authority pilot program will use urine sensors to tell if you're cutting.
Is this a common problem in Boston?
It is. Boston and New York.
I can see New York.
Yeah.
New York and New Orleans are pretty much, if you have to go, just go.
Yeah. You're in trouble no more.
What a great pun.
It is. The Massachusetts Bay Transportation Authority hopes with a new program to tackle public urination in system elevators with technology. Yay! The MBTA, which services Boston and the surrounding area, will launch a pilot program this summer in which urine detection sensors will be placed in 4 downtown elevators. The sensors alert transmit ambassadors who can dispatch a cleaning crew. Can you imagine that? You're handling Mr. Johnson and you're in the middle of dispatching the night's liquor, and all of a sudden a cleaning crew shows up and starts mopping around you.
I'm just thinking of doing it so I can meet that cleaning crew and go, what happened in your life that this is your chosen profession?
Oh, God. A moment of humiliation for you both. The sensors on the ceiling of an elevator have an attached fan per the AP, which...
On the ceiling? Like people are peeing on the ceiling of an elevator?
It's just the sensors on the ceiling of an elevator have an attached fan, which allows them to suck in the air and basically smell what is present. Mm-hmm.
How bad would you feel if it's just you in an elevator, you're not using the restroom, and that cleaning crew comes in? You kind of just go, oh, yeah, it is me.
Yeah, that's you. That's you. A program projects manager for MBTA, Megan Collins, said that, by the way, that the attached fan sucks in your smell.
Okay.
You're fragrant, by the way. The program kicks off in August. Data will be collected for several months before the agency makes a decision about whether to implement the program by year's end. It's not a new concept. Nearly a decade ago, the Metropolitan Atlanta Rapid Transit Authority launched a pilot program that, according to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, triggered strobe lights, alarms, and alerts to MARTA police when urine was detected in an elevator. The elevators were then inoperable until a cleaning. Oh, they just shut that stuff down.
So you're just stuck in there till the cleaning crew gets there.
Yep. You just get to sit in it. That program, deemed a success, was eventually expanded. The MBTA hopes the program helps alleviate problems. We want to make sure that our riders feel comfortable riding in elevators, and that in some cases, when people do use the elevator as a restroom, it can damage the elevator, and that can also make it unsanitary, Collins says. These can also render it unusable. So we want to use, or we want to really see if this can work out for us.
Have you seen the video of the teenager that's in the elevator, and he's trying to do a joke, so he urinates all over the buttons and stuff like that? So the video is him. He enters the elevator, and you can see there's somebody on the other side, and you can see they're talking and laughing. And then the doors close, and as it's going up, the kid pulls it out and just starts going all over the buttons.
Okay.
Well, then after he gets done, some sparks fly out of the buttons, and everything stops.
Oh,
and you see him trying to open the doors. It's like, oh, your joke kind of backfired because he short-circuited
the panel.
The panel, so that nothing worked after that.
Oh, no. Yeah, I'm not doing anything to get stuck in an elevator.
No, that's a terrible fear of mine.
Yeah. No good.
And mine was in a parking garage. We were taking the elevator.
Yeah.
Back to the car, yeah.
You just decided can't hold it. Too drunk.
Oh, we were all just joking.
You were
joking. Hey, have you ever seen that episode of The Office when they do this? Everyone's like, no. And I go, well, if this elevator gets stuck, this is the peeing corner. You know what? It was Atlanta, too.
Was it?
Yeah. Because I took a picture of a sign that said in the parking garage, it said the parking garage is not a urinal. Yeah.
See, yeah. I've, being a type 2 diabetic, sometimes when you got to go, you got to go.
Yeah.
I've peed in a parking garage, like on my wheel. But I've never, I've never gone in the elevator.
I have. I admit it. I have. Am I proud of it? No. I made everybody laugh.
Oh, Bruiser, what are we going to do with you? Let's go to Salem, shall we?
Let's go to Salem.
We'll go to Salem, where a vandal has painted the Bewitched statue with red paint.
What?
Yeah.
That statue's like right in the middle of town, too.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been to Salem, but It's right there.
It's got Elizabeth Montgomery. Why would you paint Elizabeth Montgomery with red paint?
I don't get why it's red, too. Like, what's the purpose?
I don't know. In the wiggle of a nose, a man partially covered the Bewitched statue in Salem with red paint, police said. Witnesses called police at about 5 p.m. on Monday to report someone spray painting the bronze statue. Captain John Burke said on Tuesday, the statue depicts actor Elizabeth Montgomery as the lead character Samantha Stevens in the 1960s sitcom, sitting on a broomstick in front of a crescent moon. An officer in the area spotted a man fitting witness descriptions of the vandal, and after a brief chase, arrested a 32-year-old city resident on charges of defacing property, resisting arrest, and disorderly conduct. The suspect, who was going through a rough time and wanted to do something to get arrested. Oh, God. According to a prosecutor.
I'm having a rough time.
Yeah.
So I want to get arrested.
So I want to get arrested.
That doesn't make your rough time any better there, buddy.
It does not. According to a prosecutor, was held on $500 bail at Tuesday's arraignment. His attorney said he's been living in a shelter for 2 weeks since his marriage ended. He's been looking for a new job. In between meetings, was disappointed to hear the Bewitched Samantha statue downtown was vandalized. Salem Mayor Kim Driscoll apprehending the individual responsible. The mayor said, "We'll work to get the statue cleaned as fast as a twitch of Samantha's nose." Oh, dear God. Red paint on the upper half of the statue has already been cleaned off, Burke said. The statue was erected in the city, famous for the 1692 witch trials in 2005, despite protests from some who said it trivializes the tragedy of the trials.
It's a very, very beautiful town.
That's right. Okay,
and
Bruiser.
if you're a fan of Hocus Pocus, the village they filmed Hocus Pocus in Salem, but the village in the beginning of the movie is still there.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
There you go. This is the time of the program, Bruiser, where if you have small children or people whose ears are easily affected by things that are objectionable or somewhat raunchy, you want to do the earmuffs. Either cover your own ears, cover their ears, or find cotton or something to put in the ears, because we're about to turn it up to 11. That's what we do here on Dumb Crime, Stupid Criminals. This story, by the way, sent to me, I think we read this story last week or the week before. This story sent to me over and over and over and over again, so we'll repeat it yet again this week. One of the things you just don't do when you're out on the highway, you're driving, doesn't matter how amorous you get, doesn't matter of the lady of your life sitting there across from you as you're driving. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter how much she looks at you and admires you. Doesn't matter how much you admire her. Just keep your hands off yourself till you get home. Here's why.
Okay.
Because there's trucks out there, Bruiser.
Lots of trucks.
Trucks that are bigger than you.
Oh, yeah, and they can see down in your car.
Well, there's that too. But the chances are you might hit one of those trucks.
You don't want to do that.
Because sometimes people have magical powers.
Okay.
And they can distract you with those magical powers, and you can hit one of them trucks. I'll tell you what happened.
Yes, please.
And this is just a little example of what happened here. It just so turns out that we go to Fort Lauderdale. Here's the story right here. It's an audio daily double.
2 people are recovering tonight after this head-on collision in Fort Lauderdale. As for what caused the crash, well, police say the female passenger was performing sex acts on the driver, causing him to lose control and hit this FedEx truck. This happened on North Ocean Boulevard and 19th Street. We're told the pair had minor injuries.
That's it. So, I'll leave it up to your imagination. Although in the story it does say oral sex. So,
yeah. And I'm I don't know why this is entering my head, but I just picture them rear-ending the FedEx truck and her biting really hard. That was his injury.
It wasn't a rear end at all, sir. It was head to head.
Oh, well, literally head to head.
Yeah, literally head to head there. So, just try to keep it in your pants or do whatever you can until you get home.
I mean, it adds excitement, but you have to be able to drive. Like, keep your eye on the road. Got to keep an eye out for especially FedEx.
Yeah, well, they're big white vans.
Big. They're huge.
Yeah.
Like, I can see if it's a UPS driver and it's nighttime, get it. Dark van, nighttime. But FedEx, that's huge.
Yeah. Just.
Did she have a concussion from the steering wheel?
Or the airbag? Can you imagine? That guy has a permanent set of teeth marks.
Oh, yeah. He's lucky he still has his member.
Mm-hmm. Ow.
Yeah.
The chances you're taking on that deal. I'm just
yeah.
It's
just pull over, find a park and ride or a motel, hotel, or just hurry home.
Well, now, Bruiser, that may not be sound advice.
No?
Because our next story has a little something to do with that. And
okay.
It also involves your insurance company.
Oh, yep. I read this article and I was actually read it today. I was going to send it to you, but I'm like, pretty sure he's got this.
Oh, I do. And it turns out your significant other may get it too if you're in the car with them.
But hopefully you read the article that I read and it explains why. You go ahead and then I'll say, like, I can see it being justified.
Okay. So it turns out, and again, earmuffs, kids, Geico may owe millions over a woman's STD.
$5.2 million.
A court backs a $5.2 million payout to her after she had a liaison with her boyfriend in his car. That's right. You just can't get it on in the car anymore. Can a gecko blush is the question. Geico may have to pay millions to a woman who says her boyfriend gave her an STD during sex in his car. This according to the Kansas City Star. The woman, identified as MO in court documents, says she contracted HPV, the human papillomavirus, from her now former boyfriend. She says she knew he had the STD but failed to tell her before their encounter. Upon being diagnosed, she asked for $1 million in damages from Geico because it happened in a vehicle insured by the company.
Yep. It was his insurance.
Is that bodily injury? Is that part of the bodily injury?
It is. It
rider?
is. That's why I'm like, okay, good for her. She found a loophole.
When Geico rejected the claim, an arbiter stepped in and ruled that the insurance company should pay MO $5.2 million.
Yep.
Geico appealed on a number of grounds, including that it is responsible only for injuries that come out of the ownership, maintenance, or use of the auto. The company also said that the woman is at fault, not Geico, because the STD arose from an intervening cause, namely her failure to prevent transmission of STDs by having unprotected sex.
Geico fought back.
This week, however, the State Court of Appeals declined to toss the arbitrator's decision, though the matter is not yet settled. Geico is contesting the judgment separately in federal court, arguing that the claim is not covered under its policies, and the outcome of that case will be determined whether Geico must pay up. If so, it could be precedent-setting. This case presents novel and potentially important issues about whether an insurance carrier can be held liable under such policies for the consequence of two adults voluntarily having unprotected sex in the insured's automobile. Judge Angel D. Mitchell last year wrote, "Interpretation of these policies could have far-reaching implications for other policies with similar terms." So in other words, when you're in the car, anal is out. Just saying.
There's a whole new pickup line like, hey, baby, you want to go back to my car? I got insurance.
Here's my rider right here. I got $100,000 for bodily injury.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's
I like how Geico's like, well, it's not our fault because it was unprotected sex. So that's like wearing a seatbelt, right?
yeah.
But it's not a law. You don't have to have protected sex. So it'll be interesting to see if she wins. I kind of want her to because it's so out of the realm. It's kind of like the hot coffee spilling on the old lady.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I wouldn't have thought of that. Geico's going to have to prove. Well, she's going to have to prove that that's the only time they had sex was in the car. Because if they had sex outside of the car, her case is gone.
True. That's very true. You've got a point there.
Yeah.
So no, Geico's going to have
unless it's in his home and they bundled.
Oh, see, home and auto. See, yeah. So they're going to have to change. They're going to have to change their slogan. So it'll be Geico. Give us 15 minutes. We'll give you a condom. Yeah.
Geico, give us 15 minutes. Do you really need 15 minutes?
Yeah, 15 minutes. Come on, Tiger. Really? So yeah, that'll do it for Dumb Crime Stupid Criminals today.
We're ending it on that note, huh?
Yeah, that's the only way to finish, Bruiser.
It is. Yeah. Well, he finished.
He did, and evidently now he's going to be paying for it. His premium's going up.
His premium's going to go up.
His premium's really going up, especially if they have to pay out $5.2 million. Just saying. Tomorrow on Darkness Radio, it's Supernatural News.
I'm excited.
Yep.
It'll be fun.
Supernatural News and Parashare. And a reminder that, you probably caught us here on Audioboom. You can no longer go to Stitcher. You can't use a Stitcher app, as you know. So you can catch us anywhere that you listen to your podcast, whether it be anywhere else. So it can be Apple Podcasts. It can be Google Play. It can be iHeartRadio. Anywhere that you catch your podcasts, either on the Android format or on the Apple format. So we encourage you to find a new source and grab onto it, kids. We're everywhere. We're everywhere you can listen to podcasts. So
yeah, we're everywhere like a Geico insurance.
No. Don't put it that way. Not like we're everywhere. Like places that HPV is stored.
Well, I was gonna say like the human papilloma virus, but that's bad.
Yeah, that's terrible, Bruiser. No, we're not.
Let's go with the insurance.
Yeah, let's go with the insurance. We're everywhere, like a Geico commercial. So yeah, by all means.
I can't wait to see that lizard just appear in the backseat of someone's car with a condom in his hand.
We can do it now. Now, you think that Geico will now, whenever you sign your documents, they'll have a free condom with your welcome package?
I do.
Probably. All right, folks, so we'll see you tomorrow. Supernatural News. Again on Thursday, it's Karen Anderson and Animal Communications. That's the week for this week on Darkness Radio. For Beer City Bruiser, I'm Tim Dennis. Thank you so much for joining us for the first edition of True Crime Tuesday right here on Audioboom. We'll see you tomorrow.